equal to the model I built. So Alice and I in the fall had gotten to the point where we built a mock-up with 8 Rubik's cubes, and we were able to. This was the mock-up that we had that we set off to the 100 million and change with MacArthur Foundation. Didn't get it, but we were able to get the 1.5-minute video up on YouTube within about 2 seconds before all the time ran out. And so it was the deadline of having this proposal was more valuable to us. I believe that the MacArthur Foundation has done a terrible job. There were 7,000 people who applied. I made the cut of 1,700, but there are only 5 or 10 who are going to get a shot at this prize, and it really left everybody else with nothing. And they promised they'd give us a lot. So the digital framework, I realized I could build it best in SketchUp 7, SketchUp Pro, that would give you a way of rendering an architectural drawing. But just seeing it as a SketchUp didn't give you the digital activity. So now I'm finally at the point where I have my first digital framework of a digital prototype, and this is it. It's a wireframe prototype, and the Mind is like a database learning system that you can look around inside of this cube, and of these 8 cubes, and treat it as though remember this is from the back of the brain to the front of the brain, and you're in the intersection, and you're thinking of you have a new pattern recognition user interface that this cube, this configuration here, could be the pattern recognition interface on the 2018 versions of the Apple computer, the Google Alphabet computer, because what's happening is that next year we are moving from 2 dimensions to 3 dimensions. All the new technology is animated, artificial, augmented, mixed, virtual, and it's happening so fast that they need a pattern recognition framework to replace, in addition to these alphanumeric symbolic. So here it is, and let's look at the screen. That is the structure, and you can manipulate it, but it's a very first step that you now need to put visuals on every wall. There are 4 walls in each room and a ceiling and a floor. There's inside and outside. There's 12 dimensions on which you can add graphics, and so today we put a little person in there to show that that's the place that you're looking at. You're not looking at it from the outside in. You're looking at it as though you're right there at the intersection. Future is ahead of you, the past is behind you, and you're in the imperative now. And just to show that we can begin to decorate it, the colors and all those graphics that I show could be put on walls, and we're going to create it so that the World Wide Web, which is a mapping system for the internet, I call this at www, I call this Charlie's Conceptual City, CCC, which will be an addressable mapping system for the framework of the mind. And so the framework corresponds to the internet. The World Wide Web corresponds to Charlie's Conceptual City. And the syntax and the coding will allow people to code the storage place with literally unlimited memory. Unlimited memory because here you got 1,000 rooms, and each of those has 12,000 faces. I mean 12, so that's 12,000. But there can be rooms within rooms within rooms, and rows within rows, so that it's a absolutely exponentially expandable way of looking at the mind beyond the alphanumeric symbolic framework of 3,000, 4,000 years ago. And it will be a familiar sight, like the streets of Manhattan. Well, thank you for the Whole Brain Foundation has got a whole research program going that we doing this research. We've set up our organization with boards of directors and boards of advisors. Welcome Books, Mullen. Bucks is our treasurer, and it has a very fancy pedigree. But I am thrilled that Bucks and Sarah Vargas from Children's Hospital, where my granddaughter was treated for lymphatic malformation. But at the early stages of a company, it is very hard for anyone to give you a support. Oh, terribly fascinating, Charlie. I'm not sure I really understood it, but keep me posted. But the early stages, and Bucks was key in someone willing to serve as treasurer. I haven't given him a lot of heavy lifting, and we've got a full law firm and accounting firm that we need to pay that is taking care of him. So it was a risk that was very much appreciated. Thank you, Bucks. So we have a lot of use cases of building a learning to learn platform, technology platforms, patient responsibility and personal health competencies. We've identified these are 10 projects that I've used these methods on since 1957 till this year, and we have many large-scale projects and have the capability to follow through on it as we move ahead. This opportunity we had with fixing the American schools, and with IBM and Watson, they say with Watson the world is, and I say with Watson and Atkinson the world and the mind are. So that's what I wanted to tell you about, and for the loyal people who stuck with us here so far, we're at the point now where we need some money. We're trying to raise $100,000 for this year from the beginning. We've raised $33,000 so far, but now we're not a capital-based capital campaign. We live week to week, month to month. We're trying to raise $3,000 this month, and we're going to, this evening, whatever comes of it, it has given me the opportunity to get my story together, to get these slides together, to get the printouts, to prove that we can conduct an event and see how it works out. But I want to thank you all for coming, and if you have any comments or questions, I did a monopoly when I wanted to get more interaction, but any things you'd like to say?
Well, it's, as probably a lot of people have said, it's very fascinating, and who knows how much we really understand, especially people who are not mathematically oriented in terms of
scientifically
geometry.
inclined.
I think it would be helpful if you do more of a translation of what you would be accomplishing. Because the assumption that you make in this presentation is that everybody understands that. So this Watson and Atkinson and these theoretical ideas, how does that translate into, for instance, longevity and living longer? The examples that you gave me of your own protocol that you established for your own personal living longer or surviving. How do you go from A to B that way?
I think that's a comment that I've heard before. I get so wrapped up in my techie invention, and I know how it's helped everybody. I need to cut back on the techie part and make it 80% more on how it helped me, how it helped others, how it can help organize everything you have on your iPhone so you can find it, how it can allow you to keep your mind and cure dementia and Alzheimer's and cardiovascular disease. All these things are not that we have the book that will, and the secret for that. We have a way of organizing, categorizing, making available the wisdom of crowds in a way that's shareable. What worked and what didn't work. What we think of this candidate, what we think of that candidate, and which of the programs of the dozen departments that the government might have, which program would be the high priority for you, and what ideas do you have? It's a way of sharing proposals and plans
right, because you have the academic model which you presented, but I have no idea how. What I would do is take one small item, or it's not a small item, this protocol that you established with the longevity. I mean, you've got these books like The Grain Brain.
Yeah.
Pick one of them and demonstrate it.
What I demonstrated was, and I've written a paper on how I use this methodology. I wrote an extended abstract on it and showed the steps that I took. And now what I believe I need to do is get this digital prototype built that shows what the model is without having to explain it. And then using each use case that I had to demonstrate how it can be realized and seen with the model.
You should make like a board game and have people play it. And then see, I'm just, I am so non-academic that for me the investment is like, to be honest.
Hugh O'Donnell said, what we need to build is a digital and a non-digital prototype. And have it all be about games and simulation that people can play. And for example, how would the Somerville School, that got $5 million from Lorene Powell Jobs, be able to use the design prototype to build a physical version in their playground that kids could play with and create games to have them learn by using the physical, even non-digital version, to discover how they could learn how to learn, how they could learn a language, how they could do all kinds of things. So
that's it.
And what I found is that until I had the conceptual framework and the various frameworks that I have gotten to now,